What's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to be replacing my upper control arms because originally I took it to get it alignment, but the guys were saying that the upper ball joint was messed up, so the tire had some wiggle room, so I need to replace that. And the reason why I'm pretty sure they're messed up because recently I ran over a wheel on the freeway, probably went like 40 miles an hour. I couldn't get away from it because there was cars next to me, so I ran it over on the driver's side, but it messed up mostly the passenger side for whatever reason. So now I have the little, or the bolt that aligns the caster is messed up. It doesn't tighten up anymore, so I'm going to replace all that. And this is the second time I'm replacing them. I probably replaced them at about 100,000 miles. And because this happened, I only have 150,000 miles now. I got to replace them again. So I'm going to remove the tire, the whole wheel, and then I'll show you guys what's next on that. So got to jack up the truck a little bit, and I'm going to put a jack stand, and I'm going to do one side at a time. So I'll show you guys the process. So this is the passenger side now, and let me show you how loose this caster adjuster became. You guys can see me there. I'm hardly putting any force into it, and that's how loose it is. So I tried tightening it one time and taking it back to get it aligned, and the guys told me they couldn't do it because it just had too much play. So I'm guessing they said I needed to replace the upper control arms. So I'm going to attempt to do it without removing the strut and the spring. It's gonna be a little tough. It's doable, but I really don't want to remove the strut because I got to remove this. I got to remove from the bottom and lower the bottom control arm. It's just a lot of work. I'm trying to avoid all that. So first thing you need to do is remove the 10mm bolt that's holding your bracket, that's holding your brake line and your ABS sensor. So it's a 10mm, and you just undo it from here. I don't have mine hooked up because since I lifted the truck a little bit, I had to remove it, so I had mine zipped up to the side. So first do that, and then you'll undo your upper control arm from your knuckle, and I believe it's an 18mm, and just undo it, but leave some thread on it, so then you'll smack the knuckle here, and it should pop off, and then you're going to be able to remove the bolts there. So I'm going to be replacing the bolts, this little adjuster, the control arm, and I have all the parts here. I ordered them from Amazon, so I'll show you those whenever we're getting closer to it. So I'm going to start undoing this and then doing the next. Because I didn't have a big enough or long enough socket that'll fit there. I have a where is it? I have this one right here. It's not short, it's kind of medium sized, but the ratchet doesn't fit all the way inside. So I'm using an open wrench, 13/16 on the outside. I believe the inside is the same diameter, but I'm using a 21 fits there, a little loose, and it's just hitting the control arm. And I did have to hammer this side a little bit to loosen it up at first, and now it's coming off. I know the other side is going to be super loose since I can move it just with my hands, so I'm going to try to remove this one first. Also, let me show you, I did put some markings on there with some crayon, but I am going to be replacing those and those pins. So the markings, I guess I'm just going to try to get it as close as possible to what it was. Alright, let me show you real quick. After I hammer it, you're going to hammer on the sides. You guys can see all the grease from the boot, from that ball joint. It came out, so it was pretty busted. And while I was hammering, you guys saw how loose that was. The whole thing kept shifting, from side to side. So definitely replacing. So I'm gonna go ahead, and you're supposed to mark this in case you have upper controllers that ball joints a little gone and you need to replace them, but they're still good. what you need to do is mark where your current adjusters are at, kind of like do a mark going up and down, so whenever you replace it, you put those marks back together in the same position. That way your alignment is not too off, but you still need to take it to an alignment shop and get it done. But it's just so it's a little better for your ride to the shop. So mine are pretty messed up, so I really don't know where they were. So I'm just gonna mark kind of where they were. This one's definitely loose, so I really can't even mark this one because I don't know where it went. I'll mark this ones, and then on the other side I'll take a look at when I'm over there and see what I'm supposed to do there. But for now, I'm just gonna grab a white marker, mark my lines on each side, remove the bolts, or try to remove them. It'll be easier for anybody to remove the front side first, or the bolt facing the front of the vehicle or the truck. After you do that, the second one's a little trickier because it'll be hitting the spring here. So, but once you get that one out, I already took the one from the knuckle, the nut. So now it's all free. I was able to push this side all the way far back, pull this side forward. That way the bolt can get a little more angle towards there. So push the adjuster as far as forward on the bolt, and then you're able to kind of work it away and towards the back of the spring. It's gonna rub a little bit on the spring, but it looks like it's gonna be coming out. So I'm gonna continue with it, and it should be coming out. I've only been messing with this, removing the two bolts for less than 10 minutes, and it seems to me that I am going to be able to get it out. So that's good news. So it doesn't take long. It would have taken me longer to remove the 3 bolts up there, the 2 bolts down here on the strut, and then have to put it back together and then trying to align it so it matches. So it's not too bad doing it this way. 10 extra minutes on this particular screw because it hits the spring, so it's a little harder to remove. So total about 20 minutes of messing with those 2 screws, which is a lot less work for me than having to remove all that strut. And you can see the bolt that was on there. I'm not sure if I messed this up trying to remove it, or that's from the impact that maybe it's stripped, and maybe that's why it wasn't tightening anymore. It didn't have any thread to to make it tight. Regardless, I bought new, so I'm gonna replace them. Now I don't know why they don't put it the head of the screw going this way towards there and put the nut over here. Same on this side. I mean, it would make it easier to replace it later on down the line. For whatever reason, I'm gonna do some research, and if there's really no specific reason why they do that, then that's what I'm gonna do, because that'll make my life easier next time I have to replace them. But as you guys can see, this thing should come out now. It's a little tight in there, but it's out. There's a ball joint. Let's see. It has no more resistance. Ball joint completely busted. So yeah, it's time to replace it. Alright, so these are my new bolts that I'm going to be using, and I bought them off Amazon. I believe they were like 20 something or 30 bucks per set. So for this side you need 1 set, for the other side you need another set, and they look pretty much identical to the original ones. So I saw some people using one of these nuts that has a plastic washer inside to create more pressure. I'm not sure if that would work. So, but I am going to be using these new bolts just to keep it all new and safer. I don't want to. This old bolts don't look bent, but they could be from the impact. So I'm not going to risk it and have to do my work again. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the new ones. And yeah, so one side is more flat on the adjuster, this side is more rounded off. So I'm guessing flat side goes to the hitting the metal. and around the side to the other side. So I'll move this around if I have to. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the new control arms, which are in that box, which are also from Amazon, and continue with the process. Alright, so I tried to do some research to see why they don't put the bolts from the outside towards the inside, towards the strut, and I couldn't find anything. But pretty much, here's an example. This is the bolt going from the inside of the strut to the outside towards the front of the vehicle. You see how much it sticks out past the frame, and if you do it the other way, you can see the bolt sticks out pretty quite away. So I'm pretty sure at some point, if something happens, your shock will be hitting the bolts, and that's not going to be good. So yeah, so now I have to I don't want to remove it. I'm not going to remove it. I'm just going to mess with it and pass a bolt from the inside towards the outside. And yeah, this pretty much should be it. And we're going to reassemble, then try to align the adjusters somewhat to what it was, even though, like I said, this side was pretty messed up, so I really don't know where it was. So yep, a lot easier to put it in than to take it out. Probably took me like 5 minutes at the most, trying to mess with it. So there it is. I'm gonna just move it around, push it out a little bit so I can get the adjuster into the pin. I was gonna swap the pins, but they seem to be okay. So, and I did have purchased some new ones. Let me show you this right here. This is a part number, and they're all off Amazon. There's a couple videos on showing you how to do those, so you can just go search those on YouTube. But so far, there it is. I'm going to put the nut and the adjuster on this side and tighten them up a little bit, put it on the knuckle, and try to set it up. Alright guys, so got this side all done. Torque those to, I think it's 140, 120, somewhere around there. The upper control arm ball joint nut, it's 37 foot-pounds, so that's torqued. So yeah, I think next is just the alignment. I'm gonna lower I already put the wheel on, tighten it up the nuts a little bit, so I'm just gonna lower it and finish tightening those up, and I'll be moving on to the driver's side, and that's pretty much it. So if I see something different on the other side, I'll let you guys know. Alright, so I'm on the driver's side, and I just found a way to do it easier. So what you want to do is jack up your truck, put it on jack stands, and then lower. What I did, first I lifted it from the lower control arm with the jack, put my, so I could remove my wheel, put my jack stand, and then what I did, I lowered the lower control arm just enough so that the bolts land in between the springs. So now the spring is being stretched by the weight of the lower control arm, so the bolts end up being in between the spring, and now no issues trying to get it out, or pretty sure no issues trying to get the new one in. So you guys can see, got that one out. The other one was even easier than this one, literally 30 seconds. Lower control arm is loose on the knuckle, so boom, right there. So much easier to do it like this. This one's already pretty loose. There's no tension, no resistance. I never did add any more grease to them, so that might be another issue of why they're going out, even though they're pretty cheap as well. So I think I paid for this one's like 70 something for the pair. I don't remember the brand. I'll post a link in the description for the ones that I purchased now, which were open box, and even cheaper. They were like 42 bucks for the pair. But yeah, anyway, so now I'm gonna put it back in place, and this side should be pretty quick. All right guys, so there it is. Put this one back in place, and it's ready to go. So I'm just gonna zip tie my lines again to where they were, so there's not a lot of dangling or they're not in the way of anything else. But that's pretty much the easiest way to how to replace upper control arms on the Chevy Silverado from, I'm guessing, 2017 to 2018. So see you guys on the next one.